tech corner or whatever, maybe you want to call it tech corner. So this is I like to sell electronics, vintage electronics, cameras, clocks, those types of things. I like to get stuff that's not really broken, but maybe not really working that great, and then get it working well, clean it up, and sell it for a profit. And this one was great because I bought it without testing it, so I had no idea if I was getting a brick, a hunk of junk, or something that was going to be valuable. But before I turn one of these on, so I buy it, I put it through what's called a dim bulb tester. It stops it from blowing up or smoking or catching on fire or destroying it. So if you're going to get into vintage equipment, you need to learn how to use a dim bulb tester, and you never plug something in and turn it on unless you're doing it through a dim bulb tester. I should probably be using a higher watt bulb. So this one's not going to get real dim, but you'll be able to see that it gets bright, and then it does get a little dimmer. So as it starts to now turn on and warm up and the tubes start to heat up, the bulb gets a little bit dimmer. But because it's such a low wattage bulb, it's not going to get real super dim. If I had like a 100 watt bulb in there, it would almost go out so you couldn't see it. All right, so this is a find we just picked up today. So we went to a estate sale way the heck out. This is a AM radio with a clock in it, and I've never tried it. So this is the first time I'm going to try to turn this bad boy on. It looks like it's bakelite. It's got that 50s look. You can tell by the typography and just the build on it. The back of it now, it looks like this cover maybe has gotten wet. So probably need to be careful turning it on. I'm going to use the dim bulb tester, and let me just make sure that this is actually a radio alarm clock, which is just amazing that they had radio alarm clocks back in the early 50s. So I'm going to set it to off. Go ahead and plug it in. I'm just going to give a visual inspection of the plug wire. I don't see any visible breaks in it where there's bare wire showing. It's not very limber, but it doesn't look like it's overly dangerous. It's got quite a bit of corrosion in here, but you know, with the amount of power going through, it should be fine. So this is set to off. Let's go ahead and plug it in. Okay. So there it's plugged in now. And I'm gonna turn it on the radio side, so I don't have to touch anything, because it's a new radio and I'm a little scared of it. But let's go ahead and turn this on. So the bulb got bright and it's starting to get dimmer. That's a really good sign. That means we might have a radio that actually is in working condition. And you want to have a dim bulb tester, because if there was a short inside here and I plugged it in and turned it on, I could fry a bunch of other components. And now you hear it's making some sound. It probably needs a little bit of work to get it going. So this is the main thing when I see that bulb got dim like that. Okay, so we did the dim bulb tester and the bulb got dim. So I'm pretty confident plugging this into the wall. So I plugged it into the wall. I did see in the back that there is a long antenna. And by long antenna, you can see the wire. I just stretched it across the room here. I don't know if you can pan over there. Yeah. That was all coiled up in the back, so I uncoiled it and stretched it out. So this probably is early. It probably means there's no internal antenna, there's no coil antenna inside of it. So this long antenna may be the only antenna. So I stretched that out, plugged it in. Let's go ahead and give it a try now. And these old tube radios, they take a minute to warm up. So you've got to...
Larry Coker in Miami. Yeah, and kind of elevated. Yeah.
Radio is actually receiving a signal, it's playing the signal through the speaker, there's power getting to it, it's plugged into the wall, so there's a lot of great things going on about this radio. I just need to get rid of that hum, figure out what I'm going to do with the back panel, and then I really haven't looked at it much other than just to test it with the dim bulb tester. I got some sound coming out of it. It does say vintage 1940, so I'm going to look it up. That's an early radio, and again, it's made out of bakelite. It's got the deco style, it's got the deco font in the front, and the bonus that it actually works. So this one could be a great find. I can fix this radio, so I'm going to take this one down to my shop, and maybe we'll do another video that shows how I'm going to fix this guy and get it sold. All right, so here's another find at the estate sale we just came back from. I got this for $5. It's a cool looking, handsome mantle clock, and the glass is intact and the face looks like it's in good condition. Case looks like it's in good condition, but there's no pendulum weight in the back. So effectively, without the pendulum weight, it's a broken clock. It's only going to be right twice a day. So I have a number of clocks. So this one here is a similar looking, different brand, and I pulled the pendulum weight out of the back of that one. I'm going to install it in here and see if I can make this clock work. If I can, then I'll look it up and see what they go for. And it may be worthwhile for me to buy a pendulum weight to install on this clock and then sell it as a working clock. So this one I tried already. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to take, this is a shipping popcorn piece of peanut, and I'm going to kind of set it in here and see if I can't use it to raise this up high enough that it'll swing back and forth. So let me go ahead and install that, and we'll take a look and see if we can get this thing working. Okay, so you can see I've taken a little piece of the shipping, I don't know, noodle, peanut, whatever, and kind of wedged it up in here. There's a little hook that this thing just sits on, and because it was rubbing on the bottom, and so now it looks like it's moving pretty freely. So we're going to see if we can get this thing. I may have to wind it up. I don't hear it ticking. Okay, now I hear it tick. Hear it? So let's take a look at the front and see what we got. Okay, so I'm going to try to wind it. I don't know if it's wound up yet, but there was no key, but I have a bunch of these keys laying around just because I've collected them because I've had different clocks. And so probably good if you're going to get into buying and selling clocks to have a couple of these laying around the house. So usually the one side is for the alarm, and one side is for to wind the clock. And it looks like it just struck 2, which is actually great because it is saying 2 o'clock here. So I think these are wound pretty tight. Yeah, somebody probably went and wound it all the way up, which isn't necessarily going to hurt it, but it may take some time to get it to unwind and to get this thing moving. So sometimes you got to just keep making the pendulum start until it stops, and then eventually it'll start working, or may have to take it apart and clean it. So I'm gonna set it to the actual time, which looks like it's almost 5 o'clock. I'll set it to 5 o'clock. It's ticking now. We're gonna let it run. I'm gonna see if it keeps time or not, because it sounds like now it wants to go. So we'll have a look at this in a little while. I'll set it to 5, but I thought maybe I'll just take a second and show you how to set a clock if you don't know for these old clocks. Really, you just open up the face and you turn the hands slowly, gently. You never want to go backwards. You just always want to go forwards. And there may be a chime, so if there's a chime at the bottom, let it go ahead and chime, and slowly bring it around. This one here chimes every 15 minutes, which is pretty neat. You can hear that. That means it's getting ready to chime. We'll set it, let it do its thing. 3. So you can, it's not really good to go backwards a bunch, but when you're setting the time, if this maybe had rung 2, I could go back to the 45-minute mark, stop, and then bring it forward to 12 again, and then it would ring 3 times, right? And so if you're at, if it's 5 o'clock and the clock is on 5, but it only rang once, you could go backwards, forwards, let it ring twice, go backwards, go forwards, let it ring 3 times, go back. That way you don't have to go all the way around, It's a little bit quicker. It still takes some time, but. And then stop, let it do its thing. And it's 5 minutes to 5, so we'll just bring it around and then let it. All right, I'll go ahead and start it up again, and we'll see if it wants to keep time or not. All right, so it's been running for like 5 minutes. Looks like it's getting ready to chime 5 o'clock here. We'll see. That rang a lot more than 5 times. that was weird.
Take 2.
And awesome. We got a clock that works.